Hey everybody, I'm Michael Andersen, and this is Fantasy Avenue, where each week we talk about everything you need to know in the world of fantasy football. Welcome to the first episode of Fantasy Avenue. So for these first couple episodes leading up to draft week, I'll just be going over my top players at each position, starting this week with my top 10 overall. Then when the season starts, I'll get more into rankings and individual kind of players that you want to start each week. But for now, this is all about draft tips leading up to the start of the NFL season. So today, I'm starting with my top 10. I've done this really since I started fantasy football. These are my top 10 players that I want. And I know in a 10-person, all my rankings will be based off of 10-person PPR leagues. So in a 10-person league, I know no matter what spot I get in round one, I know I will get one of these players. So I like to make a list for myself to know I guaranteed get one, and maybe two if the draft order comes back around and there's still guys on the board. Maybe I can get two of my top 10 guys. So I like to do this. So let's just jump right into it. My number one player in this year in fantasy football, if I get number one pick, I'm going with this guy no matter what, is Jonathan Taylor, Colts running back. After last year's domination, I really don't think there's any other guy that you could pick besides JT. He led the league in rushing yards by over 600 yards. And with that kind of volume, I mean, he is the Colts' whole offense, basically. There's really no other guy in the league besides maybe Derrick Henry that can do that. But Jonathan Taylor has shown that he can be the workhorse and shows that he can also be viable in the passing game. So he's really he is the guy that you want. Okay. Next, this is a tough one. Christian McCaffrey. If you've been to fantasy football for a couple of years, you know that the hype surrounding him every year before the draft is crazy. He's on all the magazines. But I've now drafted him 2 years in a row. And both years he's been hurt. He hasn't played a full season since, I think, his crazy 2019 year. If healthy, I believe Christian McCaffrey will be the best running back, best fantasy player in the NFL. Just like he would have been last year, he had averages per game that kept up with Jonathan Taylor, but he's just so injury prone, it seems. It's hard to trust him. So I just get scared. Looking at him and saying, I want that guy. My number third running back in a row is Austin Eckler. One quick thing about this year's draft in general, I guess. There's a very small amount of top running backs. Like let me pull up a sheet here. Like, if you just look at fantasy player rankings overall, regardless of position, my number 10 running back is probably not considered as good as fantasy football as my number 20 wide receiver. So the running backs are just not deep. Like, if you don't get a top 10 guy or a top 5 guy even, there's just a huge drop-off where wide receivers, depending on quarterback play, can jump up and down kind of inconsistently. So I really like to pick a running back with my first overall pick every single year, unless there's some value. So we'll get to the wide receivers later in the list. But for now, number 3 is Austin Eckler, running back on the Chargers. Last year, he beat his total, his yearly record carry total by 74, which is just showing how much of a true running back he's becoming. Like, he's always been a pass catcher, which is really valuable in PPR leagues, points per reception, right? So running backs who catch the ball and run are really the best, like Christian McCaffrey was in 2019. So Austin Eckler is really showing that he can be kind of a dual back. And this year with the Chargers offense just getting crazier and crazier in the AFC West, I don't think production's going to stop. So there's really no reason to be not on the Austin Eckler hype train, I guess. My next one on the list, and here's the wide receivers, is Cooper Kupp. Now, this guy is, I believe, the one wide receiver who you could draft in front of a running back and not be scared about the less deep running back field. Like, if you have Cooper Kupp on your team, he will make up for the production that is lacking with your good running backs. Not your great running backs, but your good running backs. Cooper Kupp will make up for that. After last year's triple crown, right, receptions, yards, and touchdowns, he led the league in total fantasy points, I believe. And I mean, I don't see any reason why he can't. He's definitely going to go down a bit. I mean, those numbers are just, that was like the best, maybe one of the best seasons a receiver's ever had. Those numbers aren't really sustainable, but there's no reason that he will drop out of really the top spot. Like if he does what he did last year, the route running, the connection with Matthew Stafford, he'll be the guy you want, no matter what. And then next on the list, we have another wide receiver, Justin Jefferson. Now this is where it kind of gets a little shaky. Justin Jefferson, he's really good. He's been on a steady incline basically since he got into the league. And so last year, obviously, he went off for like 1,600 yards, I want to say. Great year. Coupled with a new pass-heavy coaching staff. They have new coaches in Minnesota who have been known to pass more, run less, right? Those are good news for a big year 3. But honestly, because of the field, because of the wide receivers that are lower down on the list, like I don't have ranked as high, there's guys like Jerry Jeudy that could just boom up the list and become, right, a top 5 wide receiver based on his quarterback. It makes me a little scared to draft wide receivers super high over guys like, let's just say, Derrick Henry, who's lower down the list, but is really the last best running back. Okay, and next, Davante Adams, another guy, another receiver, crazy consistent, and we really don't know what's going to happen this year, but I don't think there's any fear that he won't be he might not be as good as with MVP Rodgers, but he shouldn't be that much worse. He had a college connection with Derek Carr. They were like best friends. I'm pretty excited to see what he does there. He should be good. Next up, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 7 on my list is Joe Mixon. Now, he's the safest pick, in my belief, out of the next 3 guys on the list, right? So 8, 9, and 10 are all kind of risky. Joe Mixon is a good, consistent workhorse running back who's steadily getting better pass-catching abilities with Joe Burrow. And I really think he'll have a good year. He might not have a great year. I don't think he's going to have, like Austin Eckler has a lot of room to get even better. Christian McCaffrey, if healthy, will be crazy. Joe Mixon is going to have he kind of has he has a high ceiling. A ceiling meaning like the best a player can possibly really be, and floor meaning the worst. He has a high floor and not a really low ceiling, but his floor and his ceiling are very close together. Like, I really don't think there's much range that he's going to do. I think he'll go for like probably 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. He'll have a good running back here. Just nothing crazy. And on that Bengals team, same with our next player, like that offense is just getting better. So there's definitely some excitement around him. Next up, we have Jamar Chase, another Bengal. While there are such things as sophomore slumps, right, coming off that wild rookie season, there's not a lot of reasons to be scared for season 2 Chase. He should be, he was electric last season, like the gritty and all that. Like he had the hype of the fans. The only fear is drafting him too high because of just that hype. Same with Justin Jefferson. These players are idolized by fans, right? It's a little nerve-wracking to go ahead and pick them. But we'll see, right? We'll see how it goes. One thing to be mindful of is the emergence of fellow Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins. This guy, when I get to my wide receiver list, that'll be in a couple episodes from now, we have 2 Bengals wide receivers inside the top 12. And T. Higgins had games where he was more productive than Jamar Chase. Like, he showed flashes where he's a scary guy. So there's room. I don't think T. Higgins is going to pass Jamar Chase. But there are some targets, I think, that went to Jamar Chase last year that aren't going to go this year. So you just want to be mindful not to draft him over consistent guys like Davante Adams, because there is some risk. But then again, it's his sophomore year. Maybe his rookie year is just warming up. You never really know. Derrick Henry is next up on the list, number 9. This guy is, last year I would have called him the toughest running back in the league. But that's, after his foot injury, I can't really say that, right? Jonathan Taylor, maybe? I don't know. He's never really been too bad. Derrick Henry, he's still crazy tough. He gets as many carries as some of these guys, right? He just gets like 30 carries a game sometimes, which is crazy for running backs, and he doesn't get hurt. And being really the Titans, after A.J. Brown left, right, their number one wide receiver, he's really the Titans' whole offense at this point. Like, they will 100% lean on him to carry their team. So just volume alone, just amount of carries, when you're watching a game on TV with him on your team, like you'll just be seeing him get the ball over and over and over, which is amazing. And there's a note to talk about. A note to talk about here is the top. If I'm looking at my running backs from last year, like so many of the top running backs were hurt. So an injury risk is a little scary, right? My next up, Dalvin Cook. We'll get to him in a second. Another injury. Injury risks are scary, but with so many of them injured, some of them are going to come back and bust after an injury, and some of them aren't. And I don't believe Derrick Henry, as tough as he is, will. Looking at a list here, right? Christian McCaffrey obviously got hurt. Saquon Barkley, who's not on my top 10, he was hurt. Hasn't really been the same since his rookie season. Dalvin Cook hurt. Derrick Henry hurt. Alvin Kamara dealt with some injuries. Let's look at who else. We got Todd Gurley. Remember him? Yeah. There's some big names. Let's just say that. There's some big names that are not feeling so good, right? There's fear coming into the season, whereas wide receivers, again, the deep field of wide receivers, not very many of the big guys got hurt. Michael Thomas, I guess, right? But, I mean, if you look at the big names, there's a lot of risk with running backs being hurt. There's a lot of unknowns, a lot of changes in the offenses, and yet you need a top guy. You need a guy that is going to be 80%. Like, you can be sure he'll be 80% consistent. You know, he's not a 50-50. Like, oh, he could go really good. Like Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is a 50-50 guy. But Derrick Henry is, I believe, like a 90-10. 90% he'll be healthy and be back to prime Henry form. And those are the risks you need to take. You can't go for a sure thing, a sure running back that's further down the list. Like, I don't know, Nick Chubb. He's a sure running back, but he's not going to win you your league. So it's something to be mindful about. Drafting a running back, regardless of not injury concerns, I guess. Regardless of injury concerns. Not injury worries like Christian McCaffrey. Just a little, Derrick Henry got hurt. I would say go ahead and draft him anyway. And next up, our last player on this top 10 list is Dalvin Cook. After these two guys, as I've said, the running backs just plummet in other factors. So injuries are concerns. They're nothing to really worry about. Dalvin Cook, there is one thing. I would honestly have put Dalvin Cook probably above Joe Mixon due to his bounce back. I remember a couple of years ago, guys had Dalvin, in my league, and every single game it seemed I would just see him on the top charts of points. Like, wow, this guy is like him and Alvin Kamara. And I probably would have put Alvin Kamara, honestly, in front of Joe Mixon too, if it wasn't for the kind of quarterback problems. But anyway, Dalvin Cook, I would have had him in front. I would have had him probably 7th on my top 10 list. If it wasn't for the new coaching staff I talked about earlier, that is more pass heavy. So there's some concerns with his usage coming off an injury. You could see in the first month, Dalvin Cook's carries be a little low, be like whatever, maybe 15 to 20 a game instead of the usual 25 to 30. I don't think that's going to be a concern all season, but it's something to keep in mind. So yeah, that is my top 10 list. Any PPR top 10 league, if you look and have yourself a top 10, you know you'll get one of these guys. And that's super important to me. It just helps me. Honestly, it helps me not be overwhelmed coming into the first round, right? I see, I'm picked 6th. Well, there goes Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey and Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams. And then it's my turn, and I see Austin Eckler as my number 3 player still on the board, and I'm like, wow. It just helps you not be overwhelmed by all these big names. So that's really why I do it. Let's go through it one more time. We have number 1, workhorse running back, Jonathan Taylor. Number 2, pretty big risk. Honestly, Christian McCaffrey, right? He's our number 2. One thing, if I see him if I'm picking, let's say, 3rd, and it goes Jonathan Taylor and then Cooper Kupp, which is I've seen in a lot of leagues, and there's Christian McCaffrey on the board, I think I'm going for Austin Eckler or Devontae Adams or somebody like that. just because of my personal experience. I mean, he could be the best player in fantasy football, but I'm just too scared to pick him, honestly. It's a make or break, and he's already broken for me, but maybe not for you. So we'll see. Christian McCaffrey, number 2. Austin Eckler, guy coming into his form as a dual threat, number 3. Cooper Kupp, the basically king of wide receivers at the moment, number 4. Justin Jefferson, steady incline coming into his third year, looking really exciting, is number 5. Devontae Adams, number 6. Probably the most consistent wide receiver, really in the top 10 wide receivers. He's been so good. And going to a new quarterback is a little scary, but a new quarterback that he knows, I think it'll be okay. Number 7, Joe Mixon. Safe running back on a good team. As I've said, high floor and high ceiling, but they're pretty close. You know what you're getting out of Joe Mixon. Jamar Chase, another Justin Jefferson type guy coming into his second year. A lot of hype. Could be dangerous, but could just go off. And number 9, Derrick Henry. Really tough guy coming off an injury, but injury concerns can't be what's holding you back from getting the top running back. And number 10, just like I said with Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook coming off of injuries, but a guy that could carry, right? He will win your weeks. If you pick Dalvin Cook, I guarantee, as long as he doesn't get hurt like week 1, he will win you a week. Just flat out get you 50 points and win. So there's my top 10. Hope you enjoyed and picked up some notes. And I'll see you next time.